I crave Morpheus's embrace. Take me, Sandman. I miss thee so. Sleep!
Welcome back to another episode of Neon City Gaming. This one's going to be a little shorter than the previous. This time we decided to see the current state of microtransactions and scrape the surface of expansions, DLC, microtransactions in general. Not the deep dive this topic probably deserves, but we're just going to, talk a little bit about it today and see where we go.
We got to get a Patreon started so that, these people, you poor people, if you actually want to see all the stuff we go off on tangents about, we'll put it up there. Let us know what you want.
What was your introduction to the term microtransaction expansion pack? Like, what was your first, not just the base game?
I can tell you exactly what it was and where I was. I was in Arlington, Texas. We were in a mall, I think it was an EB Games. And we went in and I saw Blue Shift. Like an actual physical copy of Blue Shift. Because I remember looking at it and go, wow, it looks like Half-Life.
I don't think I've seen any of the hard copies of that.
No, well, this was eons ago. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, wow, that looks like the Half-Life game, And I checked it out, and I'm like, oh, wait, this is the Half-Life game, but it's not? And so I was very confused, because DLC, I guess, existed in other aspects, had to before Half-Life. That was just my first experience with it. What was yours?
Mine was Brood War, for sure. I was friends
StarCraft?
with StarCraft at the time. I was playing a lot of Space StarCraft with a friend. I'm a big RTS guy, especially from back then. And then just remember hearing about Brood War dropping. There's going to be Kerrigan coming out full swing to try and take over the universe. It's crazy. PC mostly. I didn't get any console DLC or anything probably until PS4, maybe? It might have been my first DLC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I didn't buy anything for mine. I bought digital games, don't get me wrong. Like, I bought Beyond Good and Evil back in the day. It was my first digital purchase for a console. But...
For Xbox?
No, for PS3. I bought...
Oh, PS3, Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah, they released it on digital back then.
Well, because I remember Grand Theft Auto London for the PlayStation 1. Do you remember that game? Or did you ever play the old Grand Theft Auto games?
The top-down ones?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I never played any of the top-down ones. Yeah.
The first console expansion pack, or DLC, whatever you want to call it that I can recall, is Grand Theft Auto London. It was Grand Theft Auto London something.
How did that work back then? Like, was this PS2, PS1? Like what?
No, it was PS1. Like old school gray pop-top PS1. Oh, and what you had to do is you had to you got the GTA London disc. You put it in first, started the system up, and it would load that data off the London disc. You had to pop the top, switch it out for the regular GTA disc, and it would load all the expansion pack missions and
so it's similar to PC a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit like that back in the day. Yeah, the DLC's been around for ages. Dreamcast, you could download at DLC. You could download games directly to the system. I think there were some older Sega systems you could do that with too.
Yeah, the Genesis. I want to say the Genesis / Master System. They sold a cartridge that you plugged a cable into, or a R45 or phone jack. That's what it was back then. You'd plug it in straight to your line, and you could like subscribe to a digital channel or something like that. And you could download
games and stuff.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 games to the ROM from time to time. I think that's all it held was like 1 or 2 games.
Or the biggest expansion pack I remember on console specifically was back in the day. There was Halo 2. All right, Halo 2 had
say Red Alert because that had 2. I remember now.
Kane's Wrath.
No, it was Retribution, I think, and Retaliation
for Red Alert.
Yeah,
or Red Alert 2.
Riddler 1.
Riddler 1.
Yeah, they were console-only DLCs, or expansion packs.
Oh, that's right. They released, because they released on PlayStation.
It had
and
the,
Nintendo 64, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because we used to get it on console, on PlayStation, or 64, one of the, I can't remember which. And it had the Mad Tanks and the Tesla Tanks, which wasn't in the base game.
Tesla Tanks were DLC?
Yeah. Yeah, the Mad Tanks, Tesla Tanks, and the Tesla Troops. Well, actually, did they have Tesla Troops in the first one? I can't recall 100%.
But DLCs and expansion packs have always been like the forefront of PC stuff. But console tried to get into that with do you remember the Halo map pack for Xbox, original Xbox? Halo 2.
I recall it being a thing. I never bought it because I didn't have an Xbox until like way after that, and I don't think I've ever paid for Xbox Live in my life.
Oh man, when Half-Life, when Halo 2 launched, I remember us playing tournaments online, but we weren't on Xbox Live. We were on something called Xbox Connect, and it was a third party. You had to go through your PC. But Halo 2 was the first big Xbox Live title when that went live, and then you couldn't just. Not everyone had access to like just download maps, and so they released a disc version of the map pack that you could play on. Freaking Frozen Throne, man! Like, love some Warcraft 3. Frozen Throne came out.
How could I forget that expansion? Like,
that was a huge expansion.
Yeah. Speaking of keeping on the Blizzard hype train, Lord of Destruction. Like, that thing was huge when it came out. It was 2 new classes, whole new act, a whole new main boss, the World Stone, all that.
But that's what, it was more of the stuff we loved. Like, it wasn't malicious yet. It was still expansion packs. They weren't DLC and they weren't microtransactions. Well, see, you were buying a continuation to your favorite game. But yeah, no, so Diablo, it's just, and like, we were really into Diablo. We were really into Warcraft 3. So when they came out Frozen Throne, it's like,
at that time, Diablo or Blizzard couldn't do any wrong. Like, everything StarCraft, Warcraft, Diablo related was gold.
Well, it was Blizzard. It wasn't Activision Blizzard. It was Arthas' story, and you got to continue that on and see his full fall from glory. Great new maps. But it was just more of what we loved. It was just more of the. It didn't feel dirty at all. Like, the word DLC or microtransaction kind of feels dirty now. It's like tainted.
Oh, it does. Like, if it's more than $5 and it's not an expansion pack, like, I feel dirty still.
Because it started in 2006. 2006 with that damned horse armor in Oblivion. Do you remember that?
It was like gold, right? It was like goldish green with like the feathers.
No, it was horse armor. Like, I think specifically the one you're talking about is the elven armor for the horse, because that's what the elven armor looked like.
Oh, was it different armor types? I thought it was just one armor type. I thought it was just.
I don't know. I never.
And they had. It was like $2.99 or $1.99 when it first came out.
I think it was $3.99.
Worse than that.
I think it was $3.99. But that was like, people were like, "What the heck, horse armor?" Like, number one, and I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority on this. I almost never use mounts. In Morrowind, I used Scrolls of Vicarian Flight, and we just memorized where all the lakes were.
15 years ago.
Jeez. I'm all about, I mean, you know me. I'm all about my dress-up games.
Same.
If a game allows me to customize my character, the more customization options I have, the more likely I'm going to stick with that game. That's just the kind of games I like to play. But I don't want to spend $4 to put armor on my horse.
Yeah, especially when it doesn't do anything in game. Like,
I think it actually added armor to the horse, like armor points. But like, it's Oblivion, you could just buy another horse. Game. What I'm saying is, like, there were better things to lead off with than horse armor, because I think horse armor came out before Knights of the Nine and. The Shivering Isles, that's what it was called.
Yeah,
Shivering Isles was like a full-blown, what we would call an expansion pack. That was a whole new map, whole new area, whole new storyline, quests,
you get your
armor, enemies.
The player house, right? Was on Shivering Isle?
I think you got a house if you, depending on what side you ended up on in the city?
I just remember watching you or some other people around the time. Like, you had that mage's house that you could buy. It was like,
that was
you worked
the Mage's
to it.
Tower.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
That was the Mage's Tower DLC.
I'm a big fan of Oblivion and know all the ins and outs of this game.
But no, that was so. Even then, that had the best of both worlds, right? You had a game with horse armor, which was just ridiculous, and then you had a game that had Shivering Isles, which was like a full-blown expansion. That horse armor just bled into like
Everything.
I think it's because of how successful it was.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was. They smelled blood in the water. Like, it was. You get one or two people who are like, "Well, no, it's $5, but it's kind of cool."
But it wasn't content. It wasn't like it was something that it
Well,
was visually. It was.
Yes and no. I get what you're trying to say. That is not content. It's not furthering the story or adding a way to change the gameplay or anything like that. It's not in addition to anything besides visually. So yeah, I agree with you there. Resident Evil 2, the remake that just came out, they sold for $5.99. You know how you could either beat the game at a certain amount of time to unlock the unlimited ammo, the Magnum, the MP5 unlimited ammo, and then the invincible knife and some costumes or whatever. Well, DLC goes on sale just as much as the game sometimes, and they put it on for $2.99, and I felt dirty doing it, but I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to play this game that many times to unlock all this stuff. I don't enjoy suffering through, like, play them super hard in 5 hours or less, or 3 hours, whatever it was, you know.
So that brings up.
So I would have had like, yeah, the knife alone is worth $3, so fuck it.
That brings up a perfect example of evolution of DLC when DLC crossed from downloadable content to time savers. Because if you could unlock something after playing the game for 12 hours or pay money and get it immediately, which one would you rather do?
It depends on the item.
It does depend on the item. It also depends on the game, I would say. Like, you have to really enjoy playing the game, right? So,
because I don't want it to... If it depends on what my time it is saving. Like, is it saving me from having to play through the game 5 times on the hardest challenge? That's going to be like, you know, X amount of time plus frustration. Or is it saving me like 20 minutes from like, oh, my house needs to recharge its ammo, and it's going to take 2 hours for it to recharge the 5 ammo or whatever. That's how very different, you know.
Yeah, but that's how it started. It started in mobile games with I've never played. What's that? Farmville. Was that the big thing on Facebook?
Yeah, it was Farmville. Mafia Wars, I think was the other one.
But they had time savers. They were. It's like you could only
energy.
play
like
the game.
You had 5 energy, or you started off as 5 energy depending on your level, and then each action used up an energy, and like whether it was recruiting people or going out on missions or whatever, because it'd be like, oh, you can grow potatoes here. It's going to take an hour per potato, or you can pay us $5 and we'll give you 20 potatoes or whatever it was.
So as someone who's never played that game, is growing the potatoes the gameplay? Was she essentially paying to play the game faster or skip playing the game, or were the potatoes a means to an end for other aspects of gameplay?
I think both. I never played it really. I just watched and tried to understand it. It just seemed like one of those games where, just like the Clash of Clans, where it's like you have one building that takes some time to make some stuff, and then you use it to unlock this next thing and start building that, and you build your farm and you get more. The numbers go up, kind of thing.
Because the energy thing, that while it can be predatory, but any kind of thing like that can be, but the energy thing I can kind of understand, because if you're playing a game for free, and you're basically paying money to continue to play the game, then that's just a subscription model, a micro subscription model. Because you do the same thing with Warcraft.
I see what you want to say. It's a micro sub because it's like, oh, $2 here, $5 here, kind of thing. But I mean, check back at your receipts monthly. It's probably going to be like $20, $30.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. Like I said, like I said, it can be very predatory, but like in concept, it's almost like a micro subscription fee for playing the game.
See, I'd rather just pay that. I'd rather just pay like, hey, give us $5 a month and you can do whatever. Granted,
because
you're not making so much money
on the corporate side of things.
Yeah, because I mean, you're only because I mean, look at them from this way: like $5 one time, and you're having as much fun versus this person paying 99 cents every 3 days. You know,
using the same comparison, World of Warcraft, $16 a month. In that month that you paid for, you're paying $16 for a month of as many game hours as you want to put into it. The buying energy, buying gems, whatever they name them, that's paying money per action.
Yeah. Versus
hours played.
Not to mention, you could actually get the full, like, say, sleep was not an option, food, sleep, and all that was not an option. You could theoretically get however many hours in a month it is into that game for that $15, $16, where the other, it's a temporary resource. You're spending money for a more temporary, like, tokens, you know, and then it's always, they do that thing where it's, oh, this thing costs 12 tokens, but you can only buy 24 tokens, and or something like that. That's just
that's manipulative in-game economy and premium currency. Well, now that we're actually digging into it, so World of Warcraft has a subscription fee, right? Mm-hmm. Not really DLC, but it continues to allow you to play the game. But then also has expansion packs.
I was gonna say they have their expansion. That's their DLC, I guess. I feel like MMOs should be in a different category from other games because, like, again, they do have that big server cost. Like, excuse me, they do have that big server cost. And bandwidth is not cheap, you know. But like single player games and games where like people are just hosting lobbies on each other, they're not really doing any upkeep, you know, or a server. Maybe there are a couple servers to host the player data, but it's not the sheer volume of like an MMO.
Single player games that have DLC or predatory DLC or microtransactions. Assassin's Creed caught a lot of flack. Origins and Odyssey. Because that's when they switched over to the like live service gear system type gameplay, where it's more RPG, and it caught a lot of flack. But I played the crap out of Origins, played the crap out of Odyssey. I never gave that game any money outside of the initial purchase, and I was still able to, like, I don't understand why it caught so much hate. I don't know if people misunderstood that you had, in order to progress, pay money, or that it was a grind-a-thon if you didn't. It really wasn't.
I would say if it was the latter, I would probably be down chanting along with people for Ubisoft's head, but no, because I played a little bit of Odyssey.
Ubisoft does enough bad stuff.
I mean, like, there's a lot of things that they need to call it out for, but that's not one of them. I played Odyssey and I thought it was fun. It had issues outside of that, and it was a grind fest.
I know a lot of people didn't like the Switch.
Not because I don't like the RPG elements to it. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to buy 1,500 swords for my main character. Like that.
This one's more sharp than the last one. This one's killing gooder. What were we talking about? DLC. That's what DLC and microtransactions. So we're talking about Blizzard. The game that like set the world on fire with loot boxes, Overwatch. Did you play a lot of Overwatch?
I played a fair amount. I didn't play a bunch or whatever. I mean, granted, I was hyped for it when it was still called Titan, if you recall that.
Project Titan. That was supposed to be an MMO. Blizzard's new MMO.
I was so excited for that, but same with another side note, Fortnite. I was excited for the Save the World side.
Man, I was super excited about Fortnite when they announced it, and I was like, "Oh, cool! A multiplayer zombie survival."
Destroy/build up your own base thing.
Right? Like, yeah, it looked awesome. And then they were like, "Nope, we're PUBG now." I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I was like, if I wanted to play PUBG and Minecraft at the same time, I'm just upset because I'm old and my reaction times aren't like where they need to be to keep up with all the cool kids. That's what it is. It's jealousy. I don't actually hate Fortnite. I'm just bad at it. Let's bring that back into the original topic we were talking about. Sorry about that. Loot boxes. So you play a lot of. I played a lot of Overwatch. You level up, you get a loot box. You could earn loot boxes, and the boxes didn't give you anything other than cosmetics
yeah.
and sprays and icons and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, tags and voice lines and all that useless junk I hate. God.
Tell us how you really feel.
Oh man, I fucking hate loot boxes because I hate gacha boxes. I hate my gacha. Like, I don't want random. I'll pay $2.99 for a horse armor if I deem I want that horse armor. I'll be damned though if I'm gonna pay $2.99 for a chance to win it, but I'm usually gonna get a bunch of other crap with it. No, I don't like gambling. I don't like randomization. Like, I like random, but not that kind of random.
I'm fine with the randomization when you're just earning it. Like, if I earn a box, I'm getting it for free. And if it pops open, there's a bunch of coins or tags or voice lines, that's fine. But if I get a cool skin, I'm going to use the cool skin, and I feel kind of like happy about that. But they made more money off of people buying loot boxes for the chance to win a skin than they did from game sales. By a long shot. Huge margin.
Because you have the people like me who will buy one or two, just especially during the events, trying to get that one outfit or at least more in-game currency, because back then you couldn't even buy in-game currency for Overwatch to buy your skins. You had to unlock the loot boxes. And that's just so scummy. Like, let me spend my money on something I want to spend on, not...
I agree, and that's why...
What if this person wanted the voice line? Let them buy the voice line. Like, instead of spending $50 trying to get this one stupid voice line, that's probably only worth 5 cents at the most. Like, sorry, it's just... I'm down with expansion packs. I'm down with some DLCs. Microtransactions is where I'm like 90% of microtransaction execution is just greed and disgusting corporate behavior, in my opinion.
What about you want to talk about microtransactions? Just utterly killing games. So I've always been big into fighting games. And one of my favorite fighting games after I got the Xbox 360 was Dead or Alive 4. I was never really big into DOA, but DOA 4 was like, the game was beautiful, ran at 60 frames. The Xbox 360, it was fantastic. DOA 5 I played a little bit of, and then they started getting kind of crazy there towards the tail end with cosmetics. And the DOA 6,
oh my god,
they released their microtransaction strategy before they released the game, and it is insane. If you ever want to just like, what in the hell, go onto Steam, look up Dead or Alive 6, look at all the DLC available for it. There is, it's 450 plus DLCs.
It's $2,051
for all of it.
Yeah, according to Game Rant.
So your choices are DOA 6 with all cosmetics, or down payment for a car.
Right, like, that's ridiculous. That's worse than okay. Because that's a fighting game, right? It's just a fighting game. You're just getting. It's a fighting game.
It's a very targeted fighting game for a very specific audience of people, but it's still a good mechanically sound fighting game.
It was fun. I liked how it was. The easy combos and then the counter system. You said like,
but it's just insane, and that's just scummy for scum's sake, right?
Yeah.
Like, who is purchasing $2,000 worth of DLC?
Like, that's the same price as
microtransactions,
your train sims and your flight sim stuff. But at least with those, the one caveat, I think it's still ridiculously overpriced. The 1/2 caveats with that stuff though is it's very niche, and 2, they are usually a 1-to-1 to the actual thing. Like, something tells me, well, Kasumi doesn't really exist, and so, so it's not going to be a 1-to-1 Kasumi.
Thank God, because that'd break physics for everyone.
And her spine.
But like going back to like the Euro Truck Simulator and train simulator games, like people who are really into those niche hobbies, they're really into them, and they're like, man, I live in, I don't know, Azerbaijan. I don't know if there are trains in Azerbaijan, but if there was a train enthusiast that was Azerbaijani and he wanted those specific routes and trains and cities, you can buy that. You don't have to buy the ones from Frankfurt or the ones from Cincinnati. So there are 2 good examples. The DOA 6 smorgasbord of microtransaction DLC, and Train Sim. I feel like Train Sim technically has more, but I feel like the DOA is predatory where the Train Sim is not. Is that prejudice on my part, or do you get that as well?
No, I would agree. I would concur on the sense of one's obviously geared towards,
Say
people
it. Say it.
Perverts like
what kind of people?
But, and then the other one's geared towards...
Wait, did you say perverts like us?
I did say that.
I sure am happily married and am not a pervert, and I didn't buy any of that DOA 6 DLC, and my favorite character from DOA 4 was Bayman, so there you go.
Well, I mean, perversion isn't...
I mean, now, if they sold Bayman like in a thong, maybe. So let's talk about predatory versus non-predatory as far as DLC and expansion packs. All right, I want to bring up, this is going to be controversial, especially in this household.
Ooh, controversy, what?
Yeah,
spicy.
The Sims.
You're talking like just straight up the Sims, like Sims 3, Sims 2,
Sims 2. So Sims, not so bad. Sims 2, ooh, starting to get some expansion packs. Sims 3, libraries of expansion packs. And now Sims 4, tons of expansion packs, and then they have something called content packs. Content packs are not expansion packs, they're just stuff and things.
It's just
that you can put in your house, but then also not microtransactions, but like micro expansions. Like they'll add a feature like dust bunnies. They added cleaning to the game.
Wait, how much was that? Please tell me that wasn't more than 99 cents.
I don't know. But here's the thing.
For $12.99,
they'll release this library of expansion packs for like Sims 3, and then a new Sims comes out, Sims 4. Now all they have to do is just re-release the same content for Sims 4 that they've already released for Sims 3. They technically have to do the work on it because it's a new engine. They're all new graphics. But is that predatory?
Oh, yes, because I'm of the mindset it should be more like a perfect example of that type of DLC would be Rock Band. Rock Band, if you bought the first Rock Band and DLC songs, those songs traveled with you when were able to be downloaded all the way up to the very last Rock Band. Like, you weren't losing out your money. It wasn't like Nintendo, or this case, where it's like, hey, buy it 15 times because we keep on releasing it on different consoles or release sequels. No, it's you bought that song by your favorite artist, you can still play it on 4 games later, 5 games later, no matter what.
But there's not a huge difference. But there's a huge difference between Sims 2 engine and Sims 4 engine.
Yeah, huge difference in engine, but they could at least, see what worked, what DLC sold the best, or whatever, and then be like, hey, let's wrap those features into the base game of the sequel. Why, like Cars? I remember Cars being like a DLC or something like in 1, and then somehow it's still a DLC pack in 2. It's like, well, why? We already had Cars. It's completely predatory to me because there's no reason that you should spend $1,000 on something, and then they're going to turn around and release it and be like, hey, yeah, all that money you gave us, throw it in the garbage. Unless you just want to play that old game. It's Microsoft being like, oh, you want to play offline? It's called Xbox 360. It's like that kind of thing.
So that brings up, so if the Sims, if it's predatory for the Sims to come out with a new game, new numbered sequel, and then re-release content they've already released for Sims 3, then fighting games who have characters as DLC or season passes that you were already included in previous games, you find that predatory as well.
Depending on the length of time since the release of the last one, and then how much has changed, I guess. Because this might be because new characters. Because usually in a fighting game, each character is going to have its timing for its animations and its own fighting style locked to it kind of thing, where it's not just like a new texture or a new asset. Like, how can I put this? Like in Sims, that $12 pack of dressers and skin packs for like your house is pretty much the same thing as...
Some people have to have that $12 toaster, DJ.
You get my point. Like versus
I
fully functional character who's like... But even still, I think it's predatory if it's like... Mortal Kombat's always been bad about this, and that's why I liked Armageddon so much. The only thing... You had like all the characters. I mean, granted, they can't put all the characters in every game because that would be a lot to muster or whatever. I'm not saying that. But don't... Smash
Bros.
Don't go from like, 9 characters, 12 characters, 12, 15, 60 to 9 characters. It's a modern day game. I'm sorry, 20 characters I feel like should be minimum in a fighting game. Anything less than 20, it's like, I'm not really getting a full game.
Last game, speaking of fighting games, last game that really burned me on DLC that I was very upset about was, because I love my dress-up games, Soul Calibur. The last Soul Calibur that came out.
Oh.
The base cosmetic, because they have Creative Fighter.
Oh,
that's like a big part of the
game, and I'm mad too.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, yeah, the game just feels so hollow.
I felt like that one was a false bill of goods right out of the gate. Because man, they had a ton of cosmetics available for download. Speaking, let's stick to cosmetics for right now. What are your thoughts on cosmetics in games as microtransactions, targeted microtransactions, not loot boxes, but like that's cool. I want to own that. I'm going to purchase that. Halo Infinite.
Oh, I was going to say, are we still sticking to the Sims game?
No, just like Halo Infinite's a good example because you can buy specific cosmetics that are on rotation. Darktide. I've given money to Darktide for cosmetics.
I have given my money to neither. I mean, I've given my money for the season pass. That's another BS type of microtransaction, but we can touch that in a second. Like, my whole purpose of playing the games is A, have fun, B, do all that stuff, but like if there's an accomplishment to the game or whatever, like if there's a way to beat the game, I get accomplishment, not just beating the game, but also like, oh, here, there's all these little extra challenges and stuff. Do you want to do these? What do I get for doing it? Do I beat the game and then get cosmetics that I can no longer, that have no point, in my opinion, because I've done the entire game? Because like some more in-game
Chivos. It's some Chivos.
Or something like that. I mean,
some pride and accomplishment.
Hunter on some things, but like that's all probably on PlayStation. But yeah, no.
Because I'm with you. If the cosmetics are in the game for unlock, I really like it. Darktide, you can unlock cosmetics. They're not great. They're not a lot of them.
They're not.
And some of them are just busted.
Possibly.
Because I never went out of my way to do any achievements or what are they called? Challenges or penances? Penances.
Yeah, that's the penances. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Because I was trying to do that one where you had to kill, as a psyker, you had to kill 7 enemies in 2 seconds by knocking them off a ledge. There's not that many ledges in the game. The only way to knock people off is with my little shocker thing, and that thing has a 30-second cooldown. So it's obnoxious.
I apparently did one of the harder zealot ones on accident, and that's hitting an enemy with a grenade at like 40 meters. While they're shooting, I can't remember I did it on accident. There was just like, I saw a sniper, I was out of ammo, so I just threw a rocket that exploded at him.
The Vanguard.
Stop shooting me!
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Darktide. Darktide is a prime example of predatory DLC, and because there's nothing to unlock. I mean, they are releasing things now, but that game was $40 when it first released. And I would have been pissed if I spent a dime on it. I only played it through Game Pass. That's
why. So
if it wasn't for Game Pass, I would not have spent.
I bought Darktide cosmetics because I did not pay for the game. I played through Game Pass. I enjoyed the game very much, and I was like, "Fat Shark, take some money. I'll take some pretty clothes in exchange." But Halo Infinite Halo Infinite actually has quite a lot to unlock cosmetic-wise on the free Battle Pass. Is that what it's called? Season Pass? Do you think that there's any modern good DLC or microtransactions that are worth the price? That are non-predatory, that are actual, like, I want to give these people more money because what they're offering is valuable to me in this game or as a gamer.
So I'm trying to think.
Because there's a lot of examples of some scummy stuff, like the entire existence of Diablo Immortal.
Resident Evil 2 Remake. Like, sure, it's originally $5, but that's still pretty cheap to unlock all the cheats. Generally, I don't buy the DLC or expansion. I just wait. I'm a person who waits until the game comes out and either waits until it's like Game of the Year edition where it has all the DLC, or it's like another good example, the company I love, Paradox. They make a lot of games I love, but Jesus Christ, do they have way too much DLC. Like, Stellaris is one of my favorite games, but I don't have hardly
that's one of those 4X games, right? We have to download every faction and
like all the new factions are under. There should be a pack for all of them, but like every faction is like $6. Then there's like $12 for the federations.
Do you think that's worth it? Is it because it's more content for the game you love playing, or is it just...
I haven't bought them because all the reviews say mixed on a lot of their stuff. So a lot of their DLC is really mixed, apparently. Like, some of them are good. Like, Federations is good. I should get that. And there's another one. But, like, all the other ones, it's mixed on Steam. Like, I'm not paying $20 for a faction. Sorry. I don't care about the other faction that much.
That's what killed...
to make it worthwhile for me to spend extra money on you. I'm sorry, I already can't afford usually a full price game. I'm not trying to do it out of no love for the industry. Like, I love the gaming industry as a whole, but I can't afford, $60 a pop when you release like 50 games a year, 20 to 50 games a year.
So I don't know, current modern gaming, I can't think of any really great examples of like good DLC or
because I just avoid it generally. Like,
favorable microtransactions.
It's a background. It's something that I have to live with nowadays. I pretty much wrote off customizing my characters ever again to my liking or unlocking a cool character customization because it's all behind DLC or microtransactions.
I thought there was
like, I hate to say this, but like, I feel like the way the current state is with how predatory a lot of microtransactions are, and stripping of main features from games to be resold to you, has made it to where it's harder for me to get excited about gaming as a whole. Like, I either wait for the game to come out, all the bugs to wrinkle out, and all the DLC to be sold into a Game of the Year edition. That way I don't feel like I'm getting nickel and dime and I have the complete edition. Part of that FOMO, But at the same time, I don't feel like they trust them. Like, they have yet to give me any reason to trust them that they're not going to.
You kind of feel betrayed as a consumer?
Yeah. I mean, too many examples of pre-orders going wrong. Not that I think people should pre-order in general nowadays, but it's just...
I usually don't, but I did do a pre-order. I did it bad.
That's another thing. None of the pre-order things have been enticing either. It's like, hey, you want a keychain or like this in-game pet for another game? No. I'll just wait until the game comes out.
Closing thoughts on DLC, expansion packs, where you'd like to see them go, or because what I want to see, and in the comments is like people give it good examples of like price per value on good microtransactions, good DLC, if there are any to be made.
Yeah, because maybe we'll learn something, because if you made it this far into the video, you've learned that we don't know much about DLC in its current state, because we avoid it. At least that's my excuse. Like, I just avoid it.
He avoids it, and I have 2 children under the age of 5, and I don't know what sleep is anymore. These sunglasses aren't just to block out that camera light. It's so you don't have to look at my cracked out eyeballs.